Turn 18. So I managed to level up my Reed Serpent, and now it should be relatively quick to level him to King Reed Serpent, which will be very interesting to have a T4 quite early in the game. So I did 2 fights, 3 fights actually, 2 fights with the main army, one at the Watchtower where I planned to level the Reed Serpent but failed, and then a second fight against 3 roaming independents where I did manage to level him to champion 1, and I also managed to befriend a Bleak Warg, so it's not a very strong unit, but it's good to have 1 more unit in my army, and I will be able to use him as a scout. Frostbite. And before that, actually, I lost 2 units to roamers. One was the High Elf Swordsman that I was sending to garrison this, or actually go to the cave entrance. And and the second one was my scout that was moving toward the dwelling, and I guess that's from this necromantic circle, which is pretty annoying, and I will try to clear it. And I need to clear this boneyard before turn 27, I think. So that's in the plans. I hope I can do it. Then I did the tomb fight, and let's have a look at it. So it was a pretty difficult fight with probable defeat prognosis, and I could have lost only 1 cheetah, but I made a mistake at one point, because I thought that Chant of Unlife works only on the units that died the previous turn, but actually it's any corpse on the battlefield that is from a unit that was alive. So if you had 2 units dying at 1 turn, 1 will return on the next, and the second will return 2 turns later. So the strategy was to kill the Wraith King as soon as possible, and because he has 60% chance, 60% blight protection, physical protection, sorry. So, and I'm only doing physical damage, so I opened up a new damage channel with Grant. God in Flame, and so I used my Berserker to kill the Wraith, and did my best to flank him, because with lifesteal it's quite difficult to kill him. I'm doing only about 6 damage, 5-6 damage to him each time, and then the rest of the 3 damages he does lifesteal. So on my Berserker I used Last Stand to have first strike, so it both increases my defense and resistance, which decreases the damage I take, and also it gives me first strike. So I did double strikes on the Wraith King, so that's also part of the plan to do maximum damage to him. I was expecting the Banshee to come and just scream and despair everyone, but it was difficult to split them, scatter them, because if I scattered them it would be more difficult, I think, to do the damage that I need. Actually, maybe I could, because anyway I'm using pounce, so I've got a lot of range. And actually despair is quite an issue in this tactical fight, more than usual, because of course the Banshee has Explode Despair, so it increases its damage. Should disperse? No. No, actually she doesn't have Explode Despair. I thought she had. So actually that doesn't increase her damage. But still it does reduce my happiness, and less happiness means less lucky. So with Shooting Stars it's more important than usual, because I've got the Shooting Stars Cosmic Event. So then I used 1 cheetah to pounce on the Wraith King to open the flank, but if I tried to kill him would be too difficult, so I used a second cheetah. I hesitated to use my Dreadnought, but at the same time, if I had moved here to then flank him from here by moving 1x, I would open my flank to these two guys and also to the Banshee, which is very, very dangerous, I think, even with 10 resistance. So I wanted to shoot him from here, and so I needed to maximize damage, to first flank him from here and then move and then flank again with the Berserker. So that's what I did. But then I opened my flank to the archer, so I sent one of the last cheetah to attack the archer. And Essence Harvest started to be useful directly in this fight, because I was getting some CP back from the killed undeads. So then I tried to keep the Banshee busy on this guy, and I knew it was very likely that he would die, or this guy actually, I don't know. Yeah, this guy. Initially he was a trooper, sorry, not veteran. So I wanted to sacrifice him and not the rest. I was quite sure I would lose at least one unit on this fight, so better to lose a trooper. And so on this guy I used last stand again to try to resist the attacks from the Banshee, taking 8 damage times 3 instead of 6, I think, 6 times 2 times 3, which will kill me for sure. But actually they struck me with some reanimators, and then I was dead. But at least it took two units to kill him, so it was good, great. And strangely, this reanimator, instead of hitting my hero, hit my Berserker, which got lucky twice, which was quite nice. Yeah, so at least the last stand also did 8 damage on the Banshee, because I hit twice. And on the Revenant Archer we got lucky each, and he ended up at 2 HP. Then I killed the Warg, but so here I've got 2 targets that can be reanimated by the greater Chant of Life, the Warg, or my Cheetah. So I tried to position myself to be able to deal with either of these 2 bodies, and I could naturally put 1 unit on the body to avoid it being reanimated, because I had to use all my units to do some damage. So I tried to contain the Banshee, and again it is incorporeal, and it has 60% physical resistance protection. So the best unit to kill him was the Berserker with Guardian Flame, and that's why I sent it there. And I didn't want to expose my flank, so I used Pounce to stay guarded, and then I could kill it because I have first strike thanks to last stand. With my Dreadnought I wanted to be here and then face this direction, but my mouse is not has some issues, and so I moved back actually, but I wanted to stay here and then just cast blind, and it had 65% chance of success, which was quite high, but he got lucky. Then flank this guy and stayed there, and actually I confused this cheetah with the one who died, and I thought this guy had last stand, which would have been interesting to guard, but he didn't. And so the war came back, and I was expecting it, and with only 1 hit on my hero it was okay. And if it had appeared here, it could not have hit any units. I paid attention not to put any units nearby. Then heal, despair, and shoot, but I stayed alive despite the big damage. So I finished the Banshee to free my Berserker, and something else interesting is I made a lot of efforts into put a lot of efforts into leveling up my Berserker during all the previous turns to get him to elite, and then have tireless, and you can see it's quite useful because he already got hit by the actually didn't got hit by the Banshee. I'm saying shit, but here he got hit by the Red King, but still he had all these action points to strike back. So tireless is very, very strong, obviously. Then I free my cheetah by shooting this guy at range, so that then if he needs to escape to do some range damage, he would be struck by the hero, and then I can just go pounce on the last reanimator. Actually, no pounce. So then that was a mistake, because this cheetah I didn't expect her to come back, and of course she killed my second cheetah. Then I've got one more corpse that can come back. So I tried to finish the fight during this turn, but it was not really possible because I had this 1, 2, 3, 4 targets, 4 units, and I could not kill everyone in one turn. So instead I just move the Berserker here to prevent the reanimation. It's funny, the CP didn't come with the warg, the good warg. Not sure why. And then the fight is basically over. And I'm finishing him with my hero to get the experience. But actually I'm not sure I get the experience from a reanimated unit. So now I'm moving back towards here and taking the ice berries and moving back to the surface and clearing this stuff, and then the necromantic circle probably. So here on the surface I checked in this area and I saw the lost soul that killed my scout, and they are coming. So I raised militia, and not on here because it would bring me back to outpost, because I'm at 3058 and the threshold to village is 3000. So instead I did it here and brought the cheetah here. And I've got these 4 units, and I hope the lost soul will die if they attack, and I won't lose any units. In terms of research, I finished fertility rites, and let's research Voluntary Union because that's the only Grey Guard spell that I can research. I've got 60 RP this turn, and then I will need 140, and it happens that next turn I will have a lab, so I will finish it in 3 turns. I forgot to say the reward from the tomb was quite great. It's Blessed Magical Plate of Indomitability, Strong Will, very good, and +4 defense, very, very good. And in order not to waste the Strong Will, I keep it on my Dreadnought, because my leader already have Strong Will thanks to Blood Brother. It would be great to have it on my leader +4 defense, but I think it's best used on my Dreadnought, especially since with Fearsome is quite good, and I should use him for melee. So this grew into a village. This was raised, affected by raised militia, 4 more turns for shooting stars. And I found a lost soul here from a Lobo, but I can move far away enough. I think 1, 2, 3. I need to move 6 axes in this direction so that he cannot spot me. So hopefully I will be in his back. So he has 4 vision range because he's floating. So let's move here. Ah shit. Some nasty scoundrels. 3, 4. Hopefully I won't be killed. And here I can move 1 more X, so let's do it. So next here and then the dragon dwelling. They're not moving and that's it. And so I've got 8 casting points left. Not sure why I don't have more actually. Should have more. And so let's do a Scott Death March. So that's it for this turn.